All right. How's it going? Doing the recap today for Metafide Spaces. I'm your CEO, Frank Speiser, also co-founder of Metafide. With us, we have our trusty mod, Keyboard Yeti, calling in from the land down under. How's it going?
Yeah, great.
Matt is, yeah, Matt's at ECC right now in Cannes, France. So he's over there showing the game off to a lot of fanfare, and he's getting a lot of great responses. you know, you just sat there and you were shotgun on today's episode where we discussed the future of trading as playable, and I made a few points I think during it which was I think the market itself has been played by folks for a long time. It's just that it's been inaccessible to common people in a way that makes sense, and the way to share in the value creation of that system has not necessarily been in line with all the people that the financial system touches. So, I mean, what did you take away from today's episode?
So onto that, the fact that it's been played already for so long. I guess it's the problem with that is the click that it's being played by. It's kind of almost being manipulated to benefit a few people. It's not quite the gamified experience, even though it's getting played. It's not quite the gamified kind of experience that we're looking for, where you're getting a mass amount of people that are all contributing and having fun with it. And so that's what really excites me about what we're doing, is that kind of reducing the complexity, lowering down those kind of gatekeepy kind of opening up the access to everybody to come and play, where all you really need is your skill, and access to the internet, and you can come along and you can profit off those trading skills, turning your alpha into real rewards, and that instant feedback of it as well, where you can instantly refine your strategies. And yeah, that's pretty much what I took away from it. Yeah, I agree with everything you said in there. It's it is being gamed at the moment, but just not in the way that I would like to see, or that we would like to see, I think. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, the game's been happening, but we haven't necessarily been invited. So
Yeah.
we're formally extending an invite to everybody in the world to come join us in helping to translate a hierarchical financial system to a decentralized one. So
Share your
the
party.
concept, yeah, yeah, we're big at crashing parties here. So the we also talked about how if you get really good at doing these games, what you do is you develop sort of a relationship with the asset where you can start to sort of intuit the upper and lower boundaries of an asset. You can start to figure out how it's going to move and get a really good feeling for it. And the more people that do that, the more predictable the asset can become, the more it's sort of immune to these swings and lurches one way or the other. And I think what that does is it opens up value creation for people sort of giving this signal as early as they possibly can. We talked about essentially the roadmap. Obviously, fun games to give people an access way into the markets. But also, what we talked about was the concept of standing up an exchange, which is going to be a way for everyone, not just us, but every platform that's gamifying trading will be able to list these gamified derivatives. I've been at the forefront of developing legislation for this for 2 years now, and it's just starting to come to fruition. So the concept we'll have a place for that. We're also going to take the signal and transact it on behalf of hedge fund partners, but we're going to run our own essentially proof fund that shows people the value of this signal in the market, and we want to open up interesting and novel ways to share it back to the users that are giving us the signal. So the whole thing starts to generate a flywheel where we're using signal to arbitrage the markets, putting those into in a shareable way to play on an exchange or to actually get the assets on an exchange, but also um, move to a fund model where people can share in some of that fund. And then we talked about extending that out into real world assets and eventually insurance type products. So you can insure against these market movements given the signal that we have. Yeah, so I think when you take a step back and you look at what's not been working, it's been essentially you don't know the people that are creating credit in a system that's doing it at your expense and not necessarily for your benefit, but so that the system can remain liquid. And I think that in itself is a flaw in the way current things are working, where you have a centralized money supply, it gets lent out at a low credit rate and then a low interest rate, and then it just sort of cascades down where people are marking it up until eventually they build so much risk into the system that you can't service your interest payments. And when that happens, it locks up, and the only way to get out of that is to pour more money into the system, which penalizes the people who are saving and working and building. And I think we look at that and say, like, the answer is not communism, and the answer is not corporatism. The answer is probably more akin to what should have been capitalism or should have been meritocracy, and you get sort of rewarded for the value you contribute to the system. And as we're building out what we're doing, we want to build that. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, this antagonistic sort of relationship between two non-working, non-viable sort of approaches to the market. We can actually maybe make a world where people are, you know, sharing in the value they create, which I think seems like a fairly reasonable concept. I don't think that's a radical idea at all. It's taken a while for the systems to get in place where they are, but we're finally there. We're on the doorstep, and it's super exciting to be building here with the team at Metafide.
It is very exciting, very, very exciting. I love listening to you talk about that big picture kind of forward thinking kind of aspects of Metafide and where it's going past Surge. I mean, I'm very eagerly anticipating Surge as well, but I love the overall plan for where it's headed after that, and I love that we have that like kind of long term vision in the team as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the team's really committed to trying to change things, right? We have a lot of talented people that could go anywhere and do pretty much anything. So while you got everybody here, you might as well take a swing at trying to make things a bit different than when you left them, right? So when you got there. So I think that's sort of where we're oriented, and I, I'm super excited and really happy to be building with the audience and with the team that we have. So with that, I think we can end this wrap up, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody later in the week on Thursdays. Thanks a lot for joining, Yeti, and I appreciate your input.
Thanks. Cheers.
Take it easy.
We appreciate you for listening to our space. If you want early access to rewards for our new game Surge, visit surge.metafide.io to claim your spot on the waitlist today. That's surge.metafide.io. We're excited to see you there.